Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Friday, January 5th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the Bitcoin price chart, the altcoin market, the cryptocurrency market, and take a look over there at the stock market as it gets set to open up here in the next 4 minutes. Of course, we'll peek over there at the US dollar currency index, precious metals, and then take a look at any type of financial news that's going on out there in the world as we get ready to start our day, and any type of crypto news that is going on as we get ready to kick off the day with the stock market opening up very, very soon. Bitcoin sitting up here at $43,800. Altcoin market, we got some red after a big bounce back that happened yesterday. Got the stock market ready to open up here in the next few minutes, and it looks like it's going to be about a flat opening. You got the S&P literally at zero change. You got the Dow down 0.07%, and you got the NASDAQ literally no change as well. It's at zero. So we're going to have pretty much a flat opening with the market here on a Friday so far. We'll see how things go as the day gets kicked off, which means we'll have a mix over there in stocks as they get ready to open. As we all know, 2 days ago, we had a big liquidation happen here in the cryptocurrency market. Prices held since then. We saw a bounce back into retracement levels yesterday happen for the market, now pulling back from those retracement levels in there. So now it's all just kind of waiting around to see, are we going to go poke down a little bit lower? Are we getting ready for a big breakout? So I'm going to show you several different things that I'm looking at over here when it comes to the market. In particular, we'll peek at this guy right here. We'll see if anybody can identify what that is. Go ahead and type it into the chat if you already see exactly what that is or what it sure looks like. And then we'll dive deeper into that. Of course, we'll look at XRP. I've been recording an XRP video. It's in production. I'm going to try to keep Markets in the Morning relatively brief to conserve my energy to keep applying it over there in that video. I know you guys have wanted that. It's been 2 months since we put out an XRP video. Coming out today. Just got to keep working on it and keep finishing it to get it released. All right, so let's take a look over there at the market. Bitcoin, 43,752. Total 2 continues to hold from the liquidation that took place 2 days ago. See if anybody typed it in the chat. Oh, I see it. I see one person who said it. Oh, no. No, they're not. They're saying crashing structure. No, come on. Get it. What's the name? All right. So we've held here for the altcoin market, right? Still continuing to hold in there. Let's see. Well, I was going to make a video on this week, but I've just run out of time. And with enough time elapsing, I think we'll just go through it here in Markets in the Morning, because I'm just not going to have time to put out a video pertaining to changes in the market. So hopefully we get a chance to go through that today. XRP, of course, this thing has been taken and shared, and freaking internet, man. Plagiarism up the wazoo. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk all about this in today's video. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it here in Markets in the Morning with XRP, but we're going to talk about could we be setting ourselves up for something like this? The first initial response from most people, of course, will be, yeah, it always does that. It's never going to do it this time. I'm angry at the internet. And, well, we have to say, is there the conditions there for that? And today I'm going to produce a video and show you that it absolutely will, or it absolutely is in those conditions for something like that to happen. So we'll talk about that today. Let's see. Do I want to do that? No, we don't want to do that yet. Dow Jones, of course, we're talking all about this stuff happening in here on the bigger time frames, talking about that happening for NDXT. As you can see, the NASDAQ, even though it set that new all-time high, people went bananas a couple of weeks ago. You can see it's pulling back, just as we've talked about in here for NDXT and for distribution happening in the stock market. Retail investors believing we're going into a full-blown bull run. This was actually the first step. A new high, lost. Exactly as it should have, right? So that's exactly the kinds of things you look for in there. That's first step. So now setting up for consolidation, euphoria to happen throughout all of the markets. So Still waiting for the Dow and the Nasdaq to find some chill happening in there. I'm uncertain if we're really ready for it yet. You know, in these structures that we've seen before, they typically still have a little bit more to pull down first, and then they just waddle. The good old waddle. Before finally the euphoria kicks in and we're all good. And some narrative happens to where everybody's hooting and hollering and we're all going to the absolute moon and everybody longs the market at the top together in unison for things to go the other way. But okay, we got the stock market open right now. Dow Jones down 0.06%, the S&P up 0.01%, and the Nasdaq up 0.06%. A flat opening, as you can see, mixed over here. Nothing crazy. The biggest leader out of the gates is Nvidia, up 1.15%. Biggest loser to the downside is Coinbase, down 1.58%. Everything else in between. Yields are up today slightly, nothing crazy, but they are up today. As precious metals also take a little bit of a bounce after having somewhat of a rough week. It looks like gold's at 20.48, silver's at 23.08, as the DXY is at 102.47. So it looks like the DXY took a little bit of a spilly risky here this morning. Kind of some wild volatility happening on some jobs reports data that came out of there. Market initially reacts the wrong way, now back down to the downside. So I don't think that the data in itself has too much of an impact on the overall trend. It's just today's volatility. We see that all the time, especially during Fed meetings. We see a lot of that happen in there. As for gold, you can see gold still sitting up here. Closed most recent months here at the highest monthly closes ever in all of history. But this week, it's been just kind of a bleh week here for gold. Nothing huge trending happening in here, and really nothing huge trending happening over here for the stock market either. It was really just a chill out week. After how many weeks was that? Nine consecutive weeks. What is the name of that thing? Like the Roku candles or something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like you can only do 9, right? Then it like requires 3 reds, and then it goes back to doing them again. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that. What do they call it? They say that technical analysis is astrology for men. I think that is. That we have to have 9 green candles, then you have 3 red candles, and then you have 9 green candles. That sounds more like astrology for men to me, but fair enough. I'll accept it that this is my astrology. But okay, there you go. Pretty tame weekend there for the stock market. Nothing really too crazy, except for the Nasdaq doing really exactly the things that we've been talking about happening in here. That's what you'd look for distribution. You look for the first high, the failure. Now waiting for all of that stuff to kind of chill out and go for the new high, which of course is something that we've talked about over here with Bitcoin in a scenario like that as well. I still have the belief that we're not going to new all-time highs. The narrative is totally on this Bitcoin ETF. And I think that the most lazy analysis I've seen by grifters in this community is to blame the Matrix report thingy from the other day. Some dude with 20,000 followers says, here, I don't think a Bitcoin ETF is going to get approved for 20,000 followers. Price drops 10%. All these major analysts with 500,000 followers say, that guy said that. The price dropped because of that guy. And it's like, wow. They don't get it. So, my thoughts are this is we are in distribution here for Bitcoin. And we'll talk more about that in the XRP video and why that's actually good for XRP. And why, even if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. It's still okay. So we'll talk about that. But, this is, of course, what no Bitcoiners would ever want to believe, that we could possibly be in retracement levels and you're getting distributed on by the big banks with the ETF narrative. But that's exactly how you get back into those retracement levels. And that is exactly how we have confluence with what's actually happening over here in markets. So keep an eye on that. Remember, if Bitcoin does crash and crumble, in the long term, we're talking later this year, right? I've already presented all of my thoughts and theses for, first half of the year being an exciting time of the year. But then things will change at some point throughout this year. But when things don't go the way they all plan for them to go, and they say, nobody could have saw this ever coming, it was just impossible. Like, we all knew that we were supposed to buy into the retracement levels. We all knew we were supposed to do it. How could we have ever known that could have ended up coming? Just remember that. You're in retraces. Be careful in retraces for Bitcoin. And I personally have sold almost all of my Bitcoin that I bought during the FTX collapse. It is almost all gone. It is down to the tiny little scraps. So really the bulk of the Bitcoin that I do own is Bitcoin that I purchased back in 2018 and 2019 between $3,000 and $6,000. That's 30. Remember, guys, I sold 65% of it over here after Tesla had added Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Remember how epic that news was. Perfect opportunity to sell and distribute, as that's what the big boys were doing. In here, of course, we are getting into the retracement levels, big epic news, ETF, whatever. We'll see if it ends up happening. And if it does, of course, it's retail's wet dream. This is where they're getting distributed on. So keep that in mind. The worst narratives are at the bottom. Where are the best narratives? Are the best narratives at the bottom? No, never. Never. Is this a great narrative? If you consider a Bitcoin ETF a great narrative, think about it for a minute. We'll see. All right, there you go. So, and not only that, but of course we're following those. So what are they going to do? They're going to blame financial conditions. They're going to blame the Fed. They're going to blame everybody and not recognize the retracement level stuff, right? We know they're going to blame everything outside of the silliness of an ETF at a retracement level because they just blamed some dude with 20,000 followers on Twitter who wrote some article. Like, that is the mainstream Bitcoin narrative, is that the reason price fell the other day is because some dude with 20,000 followers wrote an article. he wrote like a Substack. and he said that maybe the ETF won't get approved. Okay. Hi, I'm Blockchain Backer. This is the spicy version of me. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. All right, we'll knock it off. All right, anybody figured this thing out yet? Oh, I see free Kip. And I probably missed other people who said it too. Anybody who got it? Yeah, I see something very similar in here. Double tap. I was making fun over there in the 702 crew the other day. I was saying, so what? We're all good with names like Trendline. We're all good with names like Bull Flag or Head and Shoulders. But suddenly, we can't remember Double Tap, Bull Flag, Breakout, Short Squeeze, Violent Backtest, V Bottom. Like, we just can't remember that one. Okay. But yeah, right. So anybody ever seen one of those things before? That's what I see over here. Very similar. So we'll see how this thing goes. Okay, there's an example of it happening over there for Ethereum. Your double tap, your bull flag, breakout, short squeeze, violent backtest, V bottom. Right there you have it. Right. Notice on Ethereum, what did it do in there? It did a whole lot of this stuff first, as you can see in here. Right. So there you go. Let's take a look at another one. Bitcoin, double tap, bull flags, breakout, short squeeze, violent backtest, V bottom. Anybody? There we go. And then what about the most famous one? That one way over here. How about this guy? Double tap, bull flag, breakout, short squeeze, violent backtest, V bottom. Right. So I see that everywhere. And we'll just give this a few days. So we'll give it a few days, see if it can continue to hold. Things don't like deteriorate and fall apart, and that they've got to go, hit that level that is still there, right? But if it can kind of hold itself, and like I just showed over there, kind of with Ethereum, if it can just kind of start waddling around in here, that would be our best case for the weekend. So for the weekend, looking for just stability. I'm not going to sit here expecting that we're going to go shooting off to the moon over the weekend, but looking for a little bit of stability would be very optimistic. So that's what we'll kind of cheer for this weekend, to really stomach the liquidations that all took place throughout the market, right? And so these aren't small, right? I mean, even in this example right in here, we're looking at, how long is this time frame here? Is this from the 19th to the 2nd? So this is only a 2-week time period right in here, right? This move right in here. Ethereum, that's negative 47%. These things are violent, right? This one over here on Bitcoin, negative 30%. This one over here on the Dow. Negative 38. So these aren't little baby moves that happen. These are violent, right? These scare the crud out of the market. So we'll see if we can get some stability throughout the weekend for this thing to kind of settle itself down. Otherwise, what else do we want to cover in here? Bitcoin's still just humming along. Altcoin market has held its levels. We want to hit this. Do we want to hit this yet? Let's see. We've talked about Bitcoin. ETF in the retracement levels. Stock market, we've covered you. It looks like you flipped red, huh? Just the Dow has gone down 20 points, but the NASDAQ is up 29 and the S&P is up 6. So we actually have more move over there in tech, it looks like, than we do over there in the Dow. Let's talk about this. All right, so XRP. Let's add it. Look at that Rough Rider right there. We'll bolden you up a little bit. We'll make you red. Red for pain. All right, so here is what has happened in the market for the last several months. So this is, we can go back to October. And you can see the markets are all, Bitcoin is down here at the lows, right? That's not the narrative you're being told. We have a Bitcoin ETF coming up. Everything is Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. But all altcoin market caps have outperformed Bitcoin. And the altcoin market has been outperforming Bitcoin for the last 3 months. Not the narrative, right? But the Bitcoin ETF, right? Why would that be happening? Unless if we're in distribution. And this is a longer distribution period happening in here, and people are not chasing Bitcoin right now. But you could see that, right? So, and then of course, look at that time period. Who's been struggling along? Now XRP is it's up 7% since October. 7%, right? Oh, but Solana. Oh my gosh, Solana, it's been so great, right? That's been the main focus of people focusing over there in Solana. And we've kind of gone through this, especially if we zoom out even further and further and further in here. Solana, of course, we know has been up hundreds of percents dating back to September, August, get even higher, right? That it's been more and more and more. And so you look at XRP, let's try to pick a moment in time where we can put it right at the very low. Right, let's go from right there, right? So let's go from where right after they won the lawsuit, right? Where XRP was deemed not a security. If we go to like that point right there, we go to like July 19th, right? Let's go to July 13th. Let's go to right after, right? We'll go right there. So since Ripple won the lawsuit and XRP was deemed not a security by Judge Torres and Judge Netburn, XRP is down 22%. Meanwhile, look at the rest of the market. Everything's in the positive, right? Everything is up, everything is moving, and of course, everybody focusing over there on Solana. And so what happens is we always pick moments in time in our brain, especially when we're living in that moment, to say, this is the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing. Since July, it definitely has. It's been really low, right? I mean, the numbers just straight up tell us that. And so we get really trapped in that moment of saying, man, Solana is doing way better than us. But there's interesting things that we can do to go back and look at it from a different perspective to say, well, how is it really actually doing? Because we can look here and go to April, right? Then just take a look at how this market has done ever since April. There we go. There's XRP right there. Right, there's the rest of the market, right? So you have Bitcoin sitting here since April, down 4.6%. You've got, hey, wait, what is that? That's Solana, down 24%. But wait a minute, I thought it was in a big bull run, right? You got XRP down 32%. You've got, who is this guy? Total. Who is this guy? Ethereum. Where's AVAX? Let's add AVAX in there. Where are you? I just added you. that AVAX? AVAX is way down here, right? AVAX has been a big, big, awesome coin, right? It's down 62%. What are other big ones? Right? Where's Ethereum? I got you in here, right? Are you this one? You're this one right here. Ethereum down 36%. So when you go back to April of 2022, XRP is in the top performers list for the last almost 2 years, going through all of this. But we get real trapped from this moment, right? Psychologically, we get really trapped. And if we kind of just even go back and we say, oh, what about during this time? Better performer, right? You go back to June of 2022. Remember when everything capitulated and it was all hitting the fan and everything was torturous right in here. You go from here, from June all the way to July. XRP is the best performer out of the list, beating Bitcoin, beating Ethereum, beating Total 3, beating Solana, beating AVAX, beating everybody, right? So people say, oh no, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. And it's because we are very focused on this particular moment in time. We're very focused on July of 2023. In that moment, underperformer. But when we go back and you just zoom back and you get back to April, how are you doing? You're not behind. You're right there in the middle of the pack. So it's been struggling to get more because it's not behind the market. Who is behind the market? Who was massively behind the market? Solana and AVAX. These two were the worst two. That's not the narrative, right? The narrative is that Solana and AVAX are the new best things since sliced bread. But the reality was the two of them got punished and beaten up and spit out the absolute worst out of everything. So for them to get back into market averages right now, it took a lot of work. It took a lot of work for those two, AVAX and Solana, to be able to get back within market norms. And AVAX still isn't even within market norms. But that's like a total, and it's hard for people to think about that because it's like the narrative is totally different. But you can go look at their price charts. They're not above April of 2022. They're right exactly where they should be. But and we say to ourselves that XRP is just getting pummeled and beat up and spit up, and it's so terrible. XRP, as you can see right in here, since April, it fell 62%, whereas things like AVAX and Solana, 92%, 89%. And then the difference between 89 and 65 or 62, that difference isn't 27%. That means that asset fell an additional 69%, 70%, or it fell an additional 81% to the downside. So you 5 times more valuable, 5 to 1, right? So huge, huge, huge falls that have happened in these things. And for them to return back to mean, this is what they had to do. And so are we really outside of the market average for the last year? No, but in the short term, that's where everybody gets caught up in, right? You get caught up within what has happened in the last couple of months. What is everything else doing in the last couple of months? And that's why it's been important to focus on those things and look for those things, because in particular moments in time, if you can't recognize some things are beaten up and chewed out. And right, some people have been asking me lately, which I'm never going to tell you what to do in that circumstance, but people have asked, hey, I'm going to sell all my Solana now and I'm going to rotate it in. Should I rotate it into XRP? And it's like, well, if you're playing the rotation game, aren't you trying to go after things that are really below market average and they have some type of catch up having to do back to the market average? And this is one thing I've been kind of like hesitant on, being like, well, what game are you trying to play? Trying to be a long-term investor? You're trying to play a quick flip? What are you trying to do in there? Because XRP versus the market is not undervalued from April of 2022. It's right where it should be, right? It's only down 29%, whereas Total 2? Total 2 is down 38%. April of 2022. So it's doing better than Total 2. What about Total 3? Where are you, total 3? You're purple. Total 3 is down 39% since April of 2022. XRP at 29%. Right? So getting caught up in that one particular phrase, you say, it's the worst ever. Nothing, it's always the worst. It's always the worst. Then you could just go pick a different time frame and you say, oh, well, in this time frame, it was the absolute best. And like not even looking at that time frame, how is it doing here? Oh, it was the absolute best in this particular time frame in here. But of course, what's happening is you're seeing a lot of pain happening right in here. So you say to yourself, well, is it actually acting out of norm, right? But let's like eliminate that. Let's go to here. Let's go to like where the market kind of bottoms right in there, right? So still just not a whole lot happening in here. About flat the whole time while you see everything else going. And of course, everybody's like, Solana, and AVAX, right? So just kind of giving you a bigger picture. I think sometimes it's important to see that bigger picture and say, look, where are you in the grand scheme of things? Why are some things having such bigger moves? And then why are they stalling out? Why is Solana stalling out right here? Why does Solana have to go on such a big run? And you can see these is AVAX and Solana. Like you've seen it. I think, who did we see talk about it? Was it Kathy Wood? AVAX and Solana, right? That's where the devs are. Not with Solana, according to the sentiment, right? What are they ranked number 19? But what we had was a major catch up happen in here. So those two are getting themselves back into norms, and AVAX is still really low. AVAX still, if you had held AVAX, like here's the reality. Okay, if in April of 2022 you bought AVAX or you bought XRP, who would be doing better? XRP by a mile. If you had bought Polkadot, XRP is doing way better by a mile. Let's look at these. Ethereum. Can you believe since April of 2022, XRP has outperformed Ethereum? Right? That's just not what's programmed into our mind. We're very focused on very short time frames and what's happening in this particular moment, even if in other moments we were the top performer. And I do get it. It gets tiring to be in that position, right? And you can just look through here. XRP is the best performer out of the group, while the rest of the group's getting hammered here. Like in here, here's AVAX just getting absolutely pummeled and slaughtered. During this whole time frame, XRP is up. Meanwhile, AVAX loses 50% of its value. So we get caught up into the particular moment in time where we're at currently right now. The question is there something wrong? Is there a reason why that in particular is happening right now? And the best thing I can do is go back and look through time and say, well, where are we on the big picture? Are we not keeping up with the rest of the market? And the reality is we are. We're above total 2, we're above total 3, we're above Ethereum, we're above AVAX, we're above most things on a bigger time frame. The thing is needing to get a big full-blown break on out of here. Everyone's just feeling the pinch of this particular moment in time, while a lot of other stuff is having to play catch-up from their whoopings that they all took. They're all playing a much bigger catch-up game to get back because of how beat down they actually got. But are you out of historical prices? No, you're not lagging, right? You're beating Ethereum. All right. If you've held XRP for 2 years, you're doing better than Ethereum holders. Hard to believe, right? So it's just food for thought. And sometimes I like to look at things like this to say, why are we kind of struggling right now? Why are we not keeping up with the market? Or are we even not keeping up with the market? Or was it possible that we got to where the market is trying to get to now, but we got there first? You know what I'm saying? Go back to June. We got here first, and then everybody else is playing catch up to get there too. You get what I'm saying? So, one way to look at it. Okay, but otherwise we're gonna have a big boy on this one today. We'll have a big talk about this one. So, okay, there you go. Bitcoin 43,700. Total 2 still holding. We'll see if this ends up being a double tap bull flag breakout, double tap bull flag breakout, short squeeze, violent backtest V bottom. A lot of times these things can do things like this, so we'll keep our eyes to see if that's what we end up having happen throughout the weekend. So Best case scenario I'm looking for throughout the weekend. Totally tame, totally boring, flat weekend. That would be it. That would be great. On that note, how long have I gone? 30 minutes. Come on, guy. All right. There you go. So that's where we're at with the market. Let's take one more look over there at the stock market really quick as we get the day going. Looks like we're having a little bit of a recovery. There you go. Dow Jones in the positive, up 18 points, which is 0.05%. S&P is up 11 points, which is 0.24%. And the Nasdaq's up 44 points, which is 0.27%. Leaders now, as these things tend to shift. We got Ford leading, followed by NVIDIA and Caterpillar. Losers are Coinbase, United Health, and Roblox. Yields green. Metals green, doing better. 2047 for gold. 2312 over there for silver. DXY. Huge volatility this morning. I believe that's coming off of jobs data. Otherwise, just trilling along in here. But I do think that was the bottom of the DXY. I do think that was the actual real bottom of the DXY. All right, hopping on into financial news as we start off the day. U.S. payrolls increased by 216,000 in December, which is much better than expected. Dow futures fall more than 100 points after that hot jobs report. Why? I'm going to be worried about this thing. We're not going to get our rate cuts. We're not going to get them. Let's see. 90. We have been watching this happen fast. We are now really shifting towards no odds of having a rate cut in January. Man, how low did this go? This was down at like 84% and a 16% chance of a cut. We are definitely shifting towards that. We're still pause stuff going on in there. And then all this is shifting a whole lot too. Now we're up to a 40% probability of a pause happening there in March. Only 57% chance that we're going to have a 25 basis point rate cut in March. Again, that's 3 months away. There's enough time for a lot of S to hit the fan by then. And these things to change. And as we've even witnessed right here, we've watched this market completely change in just a week. So we'll check on it every day, but we can see that trend is shifting more and more strongly towards still just continuing to pause. We wanted cuts. All right, 10-year Treasury yield jumps above 4.08% after the hot December jobs report. Blank Street Coffee bets on subscription program to win over daily coffee drinkers. Here, come get addicted to my substance and then to buy a subscription to it. I like coffee. All right. Shipping giant, whatever, to divert vessels away from the Red Sea for the foreseeable future. You know what, man? This thing showed up at just the right time. It showed up when demand exceeded supply for Christmas. I think this will lead to some type of narrative moving forward, you guys. I don't think we're going to hear this will be the end of that. I think there's something to this whole thing. Just remember that. That's a hunch off the timing of it arriving. And if you remember one thing that happened in when we were dealing with all that inflation, remember that boat that like got stuck sideways in a channel, like blocked a whole channel and it like impacted supply chains. Remember it got stuck there for like weeks and how ironic that was while we were already dealing with a lot of other elements. This smells of that. So, okay. U.S. labor participation drops to lowest level in nearly a year. Try to avoid politics stuff, but yeah, okay. We got some Trump stuff there. Tiger Global Hedge Fund gained 29% in 2023. Didn't the market do better than 29%? Blinken heads to Middle East. Wait, what did the indexes alone went up 56%. How is that good? How was that good? Maybe that's bad. Oh, after a 2-year slump. Well, that's still a slump. It says the hedge fund slid 7% in 2021 and 56% in 2022. How would you go down? Okay, I don't know. Blinken heads to Middle East after attacks in Red Sea. New York City subway is disrupted during Friday rush hour after a derailment. Oh, dang. 2 subway trains collided at Manhattan's Upper West Side, causing the derailment. Holy cow. Normally, I probably would be like, whatever, but I did just ride on those subways 3 months ago. Crazy. Okay. If a Bitcoin ETF is, so we're over here on CoinDesk now. If a Bitcoin ETF is approved, here's what may happen. The SEC is on the brink of approving a spot Bitcoin ETF in the US after 10 years of failed applications. So what do you think, guys? How many days is it going to take after the ETF gets approved and then like Bitcoin doesn't do anything and like we start the whole altcoin ETF speculations? And we're all like, all right, great. That was fun. Now what? If you think for a second the market isn't going to do that, it is. Okay, now what? Who cares about Bitcoin and the ETF anymore? Now what? Now what do we move to? All right, Celeste's TIA token pops 22% as staking modular narrative gains favor. Bitcoin ETFs could spark huge Bitcoin trading. I like all the coulds and the mays and the possiblies and the what nows. All right, Rumor Mill. Rumor Mill goes into overdrive for a spot Bitcoin ETF approval on Friday. All right, so I don't know. Did we talk about this thing, I guess? I don't know. There's a lot of rumors saying that decisions will come out today. Some official stuff will come out today. I think we have to have stuff out by January 10th, is what everybody says. But I guess we could get it at any moment of any time. So we'll see. All right. March banking crisis rerun risks 40% Bitcoin price crash. Whoa. Dang, did I lose it? Don't tell me I lost it. No, I had the whole thing here. Okay. Web3 gamer. Pixel has 120K users and $6.51 of volume. Game picks for 2024. It can't be 6.51. It must have been million. If it's $6.51, it's over. The right to self-hosted wallet crypto laws Congress should pass in 2024. Logan Paul's to buy back crypto sue NFTs as a year after promising refunds. Rumor Mill goes into overdrive for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Oh, we already got that. Crypto VC Polychain Capital confirms founder's X account is hacked. SEC has been backed into a corner on Bitcoin ETF approval. Taiwanese crypto exchange founder arrested for fraud. Matrix Port founder says dissemination of Bitcoin ETF report was beyond our control. Listen, not a single one of you have ever heard of Matrix Port before. Ever. And there's been plenty of people who have written about the ETF not getting approved. This is what you call lazy baloney to keep perpetuating the baloney narrative. What you do is you take accountability off of all the bullcrap, and you point your finger at this one dude with 20,000 subscribers who wrote a Substack practically. Okay? It's going to be low alpha information if you literally, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Here we go. Calm down. If you believe for 1 second, that this report had anything to do with the price going down, if you have an inch, like any feeling at all that it had anything to do with it, you're not going to make it. You're screwed. 100%. 100% if you don't see through that. There is not a chance it had a single thing to do with it. Okay. I see fairy dust. All right, here we go. That's going to be it, guys. I think that's it. I got to get back to my video before I stop being a jerk. I hope you all had a great week. It's been a wild one for sure. Liquidations, all kinds of stuff, but we're stabilized. That's the first week of January, right? We talked a lot about that leading up to the end of the year, that there was really no reason to take profits at the end of 2023, unless if you like enjoy paying taxes. Otherwise, people would wait until January to be able to do it, for it to not be due until 2025 and to also secure long-term capital gains. So no surprise, right out the gates, the profit taking began. But what happened on Wednesday? That was liquidations, right? That's margin. That's all the people becoming margin players getting hammered. Again, that's going to keep happening. People are still going to continue to margin long Bitcoin up here into the retracement levels. We'll keep seeing them get wrecked. But otherwise, hopefully throughout the weekend, the things that I'll be looking for is just stability. Find some stability in here. That's what we kind of hope for. And if we can get through the weekend with stability, then hopefully we can look forward to a positive week next week. So, all right. Otherwise, let's hop into the chat, guys. Happy Friday. Do I think there's anything else I wanted to cover? I think we went through a lot. 40 minutes. This is what's crazy and weird about this gig that I do here. That I sit in an office and I just ramble my mouth for 40 minutes. And then I laugh at my own jokes. And like, if somebody was like hanging out outside the door listening to me, they'd be like, that dude talks to himself a lot. And that's what my wife says to me in the kitchen a lot, because this doesn't leave here. This doesn't stay here. I go to the kitchen and make food and continue talking to myself like this, like a madman. Okay. There we go. Bitcoin holding $43,700. Altcoin market held after the liquidation. We talked all about this stuff in here. We talked about, perception based on time, where you're really at. And as you can see, leaders, laggards, and it's all really dependent on what moment in time you're actually looking at, right? So there you go. Dow. Hey, Dow, what are you doing? Up 169 points. Dang. NASDAQ up 106. S&P up 30. La Pop. El Paparuski there for the old stock market. There we go. We'll take that. Like we said, if we can have some stability heading into the weekend, there you go. And a nice finish to the stock market would sure paint that hope that could end up happening in there. So there you go. Stock market up. Andy Filthbot gifted 5 BCB memberships before the stream even started. Brother, thank you, man. A lot of times I can see you guys doing that stuff in the stream before we even start. I'm looking at the chat. I see you guys in there and doing stuff. And Andy, I saw those come through. But it is a madhouse over here on these computer screens before we end up going live. It's usually everything is still in setup, perfection, getting it all just right. Just before, like within 5 minutes, if I have 5 minutes to breathe before the stream starts, we're in good shape. We're doing good. A lot of times it's right there till the final wire before I hit that go live button that things are still happening over here. But I always try to get that thing started so you guys come in here and hang out. Andy, thank you. Those before the stream even started. And same with you, Gatorman, you gifted 5 as well before the stream even started. Thank you, sir. Ben Davenport, member for 6 months, says, Happy New Year, BCB. Thanks for always being here. You're the man. Huge thanks to everyone gifting memberships. My 6 months have all been gifted. That's crazy. Ben, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody hooking up Ben. That's the thing about the chat, man. You look over there. It's mostly green names in there. You guys are fantastic. Michael Rolling, thanks for everything, BCB. I appreciate you, the generous super chat, and just kind words. Michael, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Those are nice. Those are where I can just breathe. I don't have to read it and think about it. I can just take the compliment. Thank you, man. Carlos Fernandez, BCB, do your thing of Kramer never selling my Bitcoin. No, because it won't be authentic. I have to be a little bit spicy to do it. I have to be a little bit spicy. I can't just dance monkey dance, you know. Here's $2, dance monkey. But it's got, you know, I got to be, you know. And we didn't get that from Kramer, right? Once Kramer says he's buying, watch out. I don't know if he'll say he's buying. He might on the ETF day, if ETF day even happens. But yeah, it's the I'll never sell. It's the I'll never sell my Bitcoin pomp. If you've never seen Kramer go onto Anthony Pompliano's channel. That's the thing about Anthony Pompliano. Anybody ever wonder why he's always getting CNBC guests on his show? Why is he the only one called on to CNBC? It's like CNBC like has their meeting with all their hedge funds, and they're like, well, what we're wanting to do today is we're wanting to make sure retail gets really hyped. So let's bring on these particular guests to perpetuate a narrative of hypeness to retail. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P with the super chat. On July 13th of 2023, XDC went past April's prices. You said you're looking for coins to do that. What are your thoughts? Was it just I remember that, though. It didn't sustain itself, right? Yeah, it did it in one wick, right? One candle shoots way up there. But yeah, I mean, XDC doesn't look bad. I mean, look at XDC. I mean, it's held on top of supports. This is a very easy one. I mean, this is a super simple one, right? Supports, breaks, supports, breaks, supports, super easy. If it breaks these supports down in here, there's problems. But if not, right, you have rules on this one. You have easy rules on this one. So long as it's holding on top of previous supports, this is like a bull machine. Again, I own no XDC. Do not get that misconstrued. If it crashes and crumbles, I will not be impacted by it. If it surges to the moon, I will not benefit from it. I own none, but just from simple stuff of accumulating, breaking to new ranges, finding supports on top of previous ranges, breaking to new ranges, supports on top of previous ranges, and still being down here near the bottom end of the support. You know, we talk a lot about like the dumb money zone. Dumb money zone is going to exist anywhere above the 236 all the way up to the 786. So anywhere in here, you just can't really do anything because the risk becomes way too high to either way. You know, if you buy here, it's, you know, it's not, you're at a range boundary. If you sell here, you're down at a range boundary, but you're below and you're out of the dumb money zone. So just for this particular range, it's in value zone, right? But if it breaks out of the range, then there would be troubles. But as long as it's sustaining on here, then you're out of the dumb money zone, you're in the value zone of the total range. So the chart isn't bad. But the problem is we are still looking for some assets to prove we can get through April, like sustain it, right? And I'm not talking about some random coin. Like we're talking stuff out of like the top 20 by market cap, big boys. Can anybody prove it? Right. And that's what we're still waiting on. So get us some of that. And then we could start doing something, you know, get excited. Okay. RS. Where do you find inflation in data again for all tokens? Well, I have to manually do it. So like for XRP supply, I have to go through and manually see what the supply change has been over the course of a period of time. Right. So over the course of this 1 year period in time, the supply changes by 7.2%. Right. And so that's what's in that newsletter in there. There's one newsletter in here specifically. So that's one thing. I teach you where you guys can get all this data, but then I go get a lot of it for you in these newsletters. So in the circulating supply inflation, I go through the top 100 assets in there And I do this for all of them. So you have the inflation rate of all top 100 from that particular date, whenever that was done. It was done, what, a month ago? So you could see this was done in here. November 20th, it was probably written for the December 1st newsletter, which sounds right? We were talking about circulating supply inflation there on the November 30th newsletter. So this was all being calculated at that time for each asset, what their inflation rates were. But you can go here, and you can calculate all these yourself. Charts. Wait. Yep. Charts.cointrader.pro. This is the website where you can go do this. When you go to this website, it'll look like this. You can just click on Bitcoin. You go up here to the top left corner, and in here you can type in whatever asset you want. So I'm going to do XRP, and in here we will see all different types of names, and over here you see CoinMarketCap. So everything is being pulled by the metrics and data that is being reported by CoinMarketCap over here. So if we go to XRP oversupply right here by CoinMarketCap, there you have it. There's the supply change being reported over time. So that's what the current circulating supply is over the course of the last year. So we can put it right here. That's today, 365 days ago. So over the course of the last 365 days, the supply of XRP has increased by 7.05% of circulating supply. And there you have it. Charts.cointrader.pro. Free to use. I'm not sponsored by any of this stuff. This is a totally free website. You can't even create an account here. It's just free. Well, thank you, RS. Kyron Nestor, member for 4 months. Smash the like buttons. Yes, we're at 854 with 2,300 people in here. If we can get to 1,000, it will make my day. Forrest Hayden, thank you very much. And it's first timer. It says, just a thank you for helping me keep focused in such a mental market. I'm just a lurker spending every morning with you. It's Friday, my dude. Have a great weekend, everyone. Forrest, first thing, thank you for the very kind comment. Second, thank you for stepping out of the shadows and saying hello. I know a lot of you, as a matter of fact, the majority of you are just lurkers. Hard to believe, probably 90% of the people who watch are just lurkers, living their lives, doing their thing. They're like, I'm not going to type into the chat and say what's up to BCB. He's too busy. I'm not going to say what's up. Come on, guy. Come on. I know you want to. We should do that again. We'll have the lurker chat flood again. But not right now. If we want, here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to run a poll. Should we do the lurker chat flood? Okay, here we go. Poll's running. Now I'll keep back on here. Forrest, thank you, man. Thanks for coming out of it and saying what's up, man. Thank you for just the kind words, dude. Appreciate it, brother. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, too. Rodrigo Pamente, BCB, and finishing your masterclass in AXS. It looks like we are in last point of support, right? In Wyckoff accumulation. Let me look up AXS. It doesn't come to my mind off the top of my head. Is that like Axon? I don't know what that is. Hold on. X Infinity, yeah, I saw that. Okay. We're going to look at the market cap of it real quick, rather than the price chart. I don't know what the inflation rate of it is off the top of my head. Based on other things we've seen in the market, right? So, like, let's do this. You have to ask yourself, is this thing acting any differently than the rest of the market is acting? And I would argue that no, it's not acting any differently than the rest of the market, right? And so we know we're way beyond that for the rest of the market. So we would just have to assume that particular coin is just lagging behind. That it's doing the same thing. It's already done spring, right? Right. This is the selling climax, right? Here's secondary test in phase B, and there's spring, and spring holds, and then now working on sign of strength to get out of there, but just weak, right? Just not anything unique or big. I don't ever see Axie Infinity showing up in the top developer list. I don't know what's going on with that one. Let's check its supply. Yeah, I checked this one previously. 84% in that 1 year period. I don't know what's up with supply happening here. Let's go like this. %31 inflation. So it's high inflation. So you're definitely seeing, so like, what were we looking at? We're looking at the market cap of AXS right here for Axie Infinity, right? And so we do have to ignore this. This is, I do believe this is an API issue here from CoinMarketCap. We have to kind of ignore this thing because it didn't really happen. A straight line up and straight line down. You have to actually assume this, because I bet if we go here, have the market cap, come on. This is why TradingView isn't perfect, because TradingView doesn't have everything. That's why we have to go to charts.cointrader.pro. But anyway, we'll do this first. I'm going to bet when we look at AXS, this is going to be, right? Like we can look here and see that it held its support over here on top of the May 2021 height, right? So this is May of 2021. I already know, due to that inflation metrics, this chart's going to look like trash, and it's going to look way down here on the actual price chart, right? So we're holding on top of May 2021. Actually, not as bad as I thought. But there's May of 2021, right? It dropped how much below there? It lost another 66% below that, right? So where the market cap right, so here we go. The market cap is up 96% off that price. Which would be right here. Well, right there. The actual price chart is down 63%. So that's all due to inflation. So that's like 3 to 1. Like for every one coin that existed here, there's now 3 coins for every one coin that used to exist back here. And so it's just deterioration. So this doesn't have many good things going for it. I don't know anything about it, but the things that are, like, I don't know anything about Axie Infinity, but things that are bad, that's a very huge drawdown. We've gone through that stuff in these newsletters to talk about that. Statistical probabilities of setting a new all-time high. Coins from the top 100, and the odds were very, 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 very low for that to end up going back into a new all-time high after that. Also, like the threshold we had for inflation, it's over the threshold for inflation. So you already have 2 dings right there. Like we're looking at 3 different main criteria. We're looking at developer activity. Does it fall into the bucket of one of the most developed on coins? 2, or does it have a very shallow drawdown? And if it doesn't have a shallow drawdown, then, you know, how does this inflation look? So 1, it already has a massive drawdown. That's a check mark on the wrong side. That's not where you want to be. 2, you have high inflation. Even currently right now, it's at 33%. That's another check mark on the wrong side. And I don't ever see this thing showing up in the top 20, top 25, top 30. for developer activity. So for me personally on this one, knowing nothing about it, but only looking at those particular statistics, it would be a pass for me. It shouldn't be in phase C. It should be in sign of strength breakout. But due to inflation and deterioration, it's just like it's just lopsided. Like this is it, right? This is actually your selling climax way over here. This is May, right? There's June. There's the absolute selling climax happening right here. Remember, this is where XRP's bottom is. XRP's bottom happened right here in June of 2013, or June of 2013, June of 2022, right? And this is what XRP looks like right here, right? So XRP sits right here in April of 2022, right? But this same phase of stuff, when the breakout happened here, it's just super weak, right? So this is another example to show you guys for XRP, and you're like, why is it so lagging behind? It's really not. It's really right where the market is all at. It's where Bitcoin's at. It's where Ethereum's at. It's where Solana's at. It's everything. It just didn't take this big dive like a lot of stuff did. It really held since June. Here we go. Give a couple more people to take this and go put it on Twitter and claim it as theirs. All right, there we go. I answered that one for a long time, but I thought it was important because I bet people did learn. You learned about like checking for circulating supply, why some charts look the way they do, their market caps, how inflation impacts those types of things. Those are probably important lessons to learn and to study on your own. But Rodrigo, I hope I answered your question, brother. NDelper, welcome as a new member. NDelper 12. K-Swiss 702 Stacker. Let's go. It's a solid name. 702 and Stacker in it. Hey, BCB, if S hits the fan during rate cuts, do you think we get a secondary test of the low 30s or even 20K in Bitcoin? Do you still see a blow-off top coming in 2025 after a recession? Hard to imagine a soft landing due to history. Do I still see a blow-off? Are we talking about Bitcoin? Do I still see a blow-off top coming in 2025? I don't think I've ever said I see a blow-off top coming in 2025. Ever. First of all, very generous. Thank you, and I love your name. But no, I definitely don't see a blow-off top coming in. I'm sticking with my whole stuff. I think Bitcoin's just retracing. If I get surprised and it goes to the upside, it will catch me by total surprise. It won't matter to me. If anything, it's just fantastic for my other bags. But I would be very shocked for Bitcoin to set a new all-time high. I think we're retracing, and that's it. Now, secondary test of the low 30s or even 20K. Now, like the thing that will be wrong is if this keeps going, right? If this keeps going, like so, my retrace ideas was wrong. This thing just keeps going. It breaks into all-time high, breaks into all-time high, goes into all-time high. The reality is I just don't care because of the altcoins that I own. And I understand the way this market works, that if Bitcoin does go into an all-time high, the altcoins are absolutely going to have the biggest massive explosion I've ever been a part of. I was here for the entire second alt season in 2017, but I came in late in the first alt season of 2017. So this, I would think this would be the biggest, if that goes into an all-time high, the altcoins are going to be the biggest show on earth. But I just don't think it's going to. I think we're going to see action in the altcoin market. I just don't think we're going to see the biggest thing ever on earth with Bitcoin in an all-time high. So if I'm wrong, we'll see. But I do not have the expectation of a blow-off top coming in 2025. And your question says, do you still see a blow-off top coming in 2025? I don't think I've ever said I see a blow-off top coming in 2025. And I've been writing about this nonstop. I think the end happens in 2024. That we see the end, and we see NASDAQ top, Doomtown. So yeah, it's hard to imagine a soft landing due to history. Yes, And so I think one of the reasons why the models are so difficult for economists to come to conclusions on as well is just how deep into this we all are, to imagine that this is a bubble that we're in. It's hard to recognize, like, why are we setting new all-time highs? It's like the economic data doesn't support that we're going to do that. It doesn't support that we're like mega bulls. And it's because it's hard to realize laser eyes, diamond hands, everybody longing, ARK, Kathy Wood is just like hot mom, right? Like that time period was the top of the market for stocks, for indicators, for everything. And it's working on this big old bearish divergence happening in here, right? We now have an all-time high on a bearish divergence on monthly timeframes, right? Look at what happened in here. Parabola lost, right? Goes to below zero here, bounces back. Right? Like it can't do that, right? But you can see here, this goes from 2003. Boom. So I think a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around all, this. But what happens, what happens? It's all happens with narrative. Some narrative comes out. It always does. So, But no, for Bitcoin in particular, with this stuff, I just can't see an all-time high happening for Bitcoin. It will catch me by surprise. I'm humble enough to say that would catch me by surprise. It would leave me pretty confused if it happened. Code 9 gifted 5 BCB memberships. Code 9, brother, thank you very much. Snoopy IRL, thanks for being awesome. You guys, thank you so much for the support. TB, man, you guys, thank you, man. TB, hola BCB, thank you for all that you do every day. Do you mind taking a quick look at Casper price chart? It looks prime for a move up, and a ton of great folks in the community are a fan. Thank you, brother. There's just not much for me to say about it. I keep it on here for you guys. Right? Is there anything different and unique about it from the rest of the market? No. Does it still have super high inflation? I can't recall. I thought I remembered it came down, right? Casper supply. No, it does not have super high inflation anymore. So it has an inflationary rate approximately 10%. It says an inflation rate of approximately 10%. Not terrible, not at all. Going through this type of inflation rate for 2021 was completely acceptable and fine. Completely. But to say, is there anything different about this than the rest of the market? No. Obviously, what you'd be looking for is just a sign of strength breakout to happen in here. That'd be your support level. And you're just waiting for the whole market to get going for it to be able to do anything at all. Or if all it's going to do is this, and then build a whole new range on a new range, right? But I definitely don't see anything special or unique about the particular price chart, except for a very clear Wyckoff, right? Selling climax, right? Secondary test in phase B. And you can call that a spring, or you could call that a last point of support. I would call that a last point of support, just because it does it so gradually without anything really aggressive marking the actual bottom. So LPS, last point of support, now trying to work its way back up. So it hasn't gotten through yet. So we'll see if it does. It's not. It's behind. Right? It's behind like where others is. It's behind where total 2 and total 3 are. Same structures on the same time frames, but behind. Right? So let's see. We'll do like this. Just kind of gives you a clue, right? So you could see how, which I mean, I guess it's just, yeah, it's still stuck. It's still stuck, whereas like total 3 has already gotten out. That's really it. So I think what it's waiting for is it's waiting for some evidence of the whole market to go. All right, I've let this run long enough. 77% of people want the lurkers to come out, but we only got 673 votes. That's very slacking, guys. Last poll I did, you guys did like over 1,000 votes in a matter of just a few seconds. I don't know. That means all the lurkers didn't vote. They were like, I don't know. I stay in shadow. But thank you, TB. I hope that answered. N12, longtime follower, brother. Thankful. Moving out of the accumulation of Wyckoff, what fractal schematic is best for this markup or distribution phase? EWT. What is EWT? Is that a crypto? Oh, Elliott wave theory. That's what you mean. Right. So my personal thoughts are we don't have enough evidence yet, like for something to actually truly become clear. Like if it's something like, this is going, I have so many tabs open, it's going kind of slow. And like in an event like this, like if this is just a quick monster nasty hit, typically what happens after this is just a 5-wave Elliott wave that happens above here to come to a conclusion. But there isn't enough printing of actual distribution happening in here for anything to be really clear. But yeah, like waiting for something obvious to come in. And sometimes the hard thing about Elliott wave theory is sometimes we can't see all the waves ahead of time, and we can spot them all real clearly once we kind of get to the end. Right? And so right now, like, I don't clearly spot 5 waves. Like maybe it's only something like this, right? And it's going like that, right? Like here's wave 1, then you have something like wave 2, right? Which is what? An ABC correction, right? Then we're going for wave 3, which would consist of like 1, 2, wave 3 being the biggest wave, 3, 4, 5, right? But we don't have those last couple of waves yet to make it really obvious. And then like we don't have the obviousness of an ABC afterwards, right? So I think we're kind of in this position right in here where it's hard to really identify everything until like another wave just really presents itself super clearly. You know what I mean? So if it became extremely present to me, then I'd start talking about it. And I definitely do sit here on the sidelines trying to count some waves, but I definitely don't have a count to say like 5 waves have been completed in here, right? At all, which means like we could just be it's like, it's kind of like, maybe you're only in wave 4 within a 5-wave structure of the third wave, of the third subwave, right? Like trying to identify that in here, making it real difficult. So yeah, I'd be looking for that. And then if other signs of distribution start emerging, like things like this, where we set another high, a big strong high, or not a big strong high, but a bigger high on much weaker strength, and then it would come in. But I don't see anything obvious to me yet for any type of distribution or anything where it's like on Bitcoin, like an obvious one, of course, which I don't know if we're going to get that kind, but an obvious one, a big break of all of those daily lows. Take it all off the screen for a second, but a big break of all the daily lows, and then back into the retracement level in here. And then like if you saw the altcoin market roaring up in there, like you have an actual retracement then. So, but we don't have that either. So like there's just no real obvious signs of distribution happening yet, unless if we just kind of creep. Unless if we just kind of creep in here. And that it may not be a full-blown Wyckoff distribution that's huge, right? This could end up being, what do we call it? It's hard to remember what these things are in the opposite way. Like your buying climax. But we don't call them all the same thing. It's been a long time since we have had to look at distribution. No. I'm just going to go print it out. We're going to put it on the screen. That's what we're going to do. A distribution. There you go. Okay. All right, so you can kind of argue that that's kind of what happens in here. Well, let me overlay the two on top of each other. Right, the height, but obviously we don't have an up thrust, and then you have an up thrust after distribution. But this is more like spring, right? So like when we do Wyckoff distribution, we do sometimes see things of like hit, and then it goes, right? And like this is all of it. So like what you do is just look at that from the opposite manner, right? What would the opposite version of that look like to the upside? Right? That's like that, in reverse, right? Can I mirror that? That'd be so sweet if I could. No. All right, so it's like the opposite, right? And so that's what that is, but just not having that up thrust, but instead of that up thrust just being more muted, right? Like this up thrust is more muted in here, right? And then you have the up thrust after distribution. Right, that's kind of what you have in here. Right, see the grinding happening in here, the grinding happening up in here. So then we pull back, and then we have the up thrust after distribution, and then things hit the fan, and then things hit the fan, right? So it's kind of like that, right? Like, are we already in that initial phase, and that we're just kind of in that grungy phase in here? With the sign of weakness. So I think, I think the next thing you'd be looking for in Bitcoin would be the sign of weakness, right? So it's kind of like you get somewhat of an ABC that actually happens right in here. That would be the first big one of being like, oh crud, because that's what we would have here, right? So automatic reaction, secondary test, sign of weakness. Then you could just have a muted up thrust happening in here, which looks more like that, right? And then we go for the up thrust after distribution. And as you can see, I mean, that's exactly how this was, right? I mean, that's your Elliott wave theory in here, and that's what you had in here. That's what this was, all distribution. So it's kind of like, all right, trying to pinpoint it and say, well, if that's what this is in here, then it's only like we'd be like right there in the completion of like a B leg before a C leg happens in just this phase of distribution. So, and then if it comes to Elliott waves and it comes to looking over there at like others, then it's like trying to pinpoint same things, right? I guess if we have similar things happening here this early, then this market's crushed. This market's wrecked. But I don't suspect it is. I suspect there's still more that has to come in here for this market. But I do think we're in distribution for Bitcoin. I'll take it to be wrong. happily. I'll let this ETF explode the market all it wants to, if that's what it would like to do. But I just don't think it will. I think this is a perfect narrative to dump all the banks, for them to dump the bankers coin. I mean, come on, BlackRock and JP Morgan. The price crashes because some dude writes a Substack saying that BlackRock and JP Morgan are not going to have an ETF. Price crashes 10%. Bitcoin is a banker's coin, people. If the class of 21 through 23, Satoshi, all the people from 2017 and 2018, they would spit on the people of 21 to 23 for cheering for a Bitcoin ETF. Bank is all the years of being called a banker's coin, guys. Crazy. It crashed because JP Morgan and BlackRock are not going to have ETF. All right, I got to wrap this thing up. Dude, I'm at an hour and 20 minutes. I said I had to make this quick. All right, and Delper, thank you, brother. I hope I answered your questions. We talked about quite a few things in there. Sebastian Albers, BCB, once again, thank you so much for showing up every day and for all of your effort. Do you have recommendations on where to buy physical gold and silver? That's going to depend on where you live, but the biggest names in the business, okay? I don't know if it's going to work out for you, but the biggest names in the business are APMEX, JM Bullion, SD Bullion. Those are like the big three. Those are the three biggest and most popular. There's many, many more, but those are your three big boys. Rodrigo says, unfortunately, I'm a crypto analyst, LOL, and I have to say that AXS didn't fix their whole economics. BCB, you rock with TA, big inspiration. Thank you very, very, very much, Rodrigo. And thank you, Sebastian, for the kind words. I hope I answered your question. All right, buddy. Cougar Love, Happy New Year, BCB. I did a lot of research into gambling tokens. I picked up BCB and VPP. I thought the BCB ticket symbol is a good sign. Oh, no, there's a BCB coin. Great. I have no affiliation with it. I've never heard of it before. Texas Takeover, what are your thoughts on Zcash? Chat wants to know. Who knows, man? The thing is just struggling. So what happened a couple of days ago? So there's a problem. There's a concern out there about privacy coins. What was it? OKX last week delisted every single privacy coin from pressure from the U.S. government. And now Binance is threatening the same thing to delist every single privacy coin. So if you want crypto, they want you tracked. So it's definitely a massive struggler. And I don't know if privacy is going to end up having any role in crypto, which it just means that if we have no privacy features at all for crypto, we're never going to use it as money. Like the whole money idea is dead because we're not going to use Bitcoin as money. You are not. There's no chance. So the money idea of crypto is slowly dying. If you guys haven't noticed that. It is now JP Morgan decentralized, immutable, permissionless, sound, not money, but sound. Yeah. So it doesn't look strong. I mean, if it fires back up, it's obviously one of the biggest laggards. We'll see if it can play any type of catch up. But last week's hit came from OKX delisting every privacy coin, Dash, Monero, Zcash. Every privacy coin got delisted by OKX, and Binance is in the threats of the same stuff right now. Absolutely Rufus, member for 6 months. What's your thoughts on... Not gonna say it. We're gonna see. I hope you're not doing this, bro. Get out of here. All right. Member for 6 months. Thank you. Can't talk about your coin. Musi, what's your long-term prediction? It sounds like now Bitcoin has retraced. Its next step is to visit the lows before it can revisit the 702. Revisit the lows? What's your long-term prediction? Sounds like now Bitcoin has to revisit its next step is to visit the lows before it can then revisit the 702. Now, my thoughts are if the Dow Jones is and the NASDAQ are over, right? If this bubble is popping, the 15-year bubble of Bitcoin is popping too. We're not talking your 4-year cycle bubble pop. We're talking the thing is popping. We're talking $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 Bitcoin price. So, yeah. Have a nice weekend. Andy Philpott gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you. And Moosey, I hope that answers your question. It has been about getting back to a retracement. And all the Bitcoin I bought, well, the people screamed for 12K. Now they all FOMO back in for ETF. And I'm giving them their Bitcoin back. They sold it low, expecting they'd get it for lower at 12K. Now they're buying it back higher, expecting the ETF to go higher. I'm doing them a service. They needed a buyer at 16K. I volunteered to be the buyer. And then now they need a seller because they want to buy because they think it's going to go to the moon from ETF. So I'm willingly giving them the opportunity to buy it from me. I'm doing everyone a service. Andy, thank you, brother, for 5 gifted BCB memberships. Zach Hessler says, if Bitcoin hits 4K, Michael Saylor is screwed. No, I don't think you guys realize that. Do you really think that he is? I don't think so. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And it does not, and it doesn't matter. I think he's just he'll benefit no matter what is happening here. He's created a business model to just benefit off of all of it. V for Dennis says, so are you selling? I've almost sold all my Bitcoin that I bought in 2022. Been pretty clear with that, buddy. Hey, BCB, a little bit of cash for an ice cream for hoo-hoo. Andreas, could you give me a step-by-step explanation how to purchase your NFTs? Well, it's other people who own them. I don't own any of them. So it's everybody else who owns them. It's just if anybody's willing to sell any of them. But you can find them on XRP Cafe, or you can find them over there on XRP. Essentially, you have to have a Zum wallet or a Zaman wallet, load, have fun sitting in your Zaman wallet, and just go connect your wallets to either XRP Cafe or to on XRP, and just go through the buy process. I think I've made videos on that, on how to do stuff step by step for any type of XRP NFT. But the process is still exactly the same. But the two main places two main exchanges where you can go find NFTs are on xrp.com and xrp.cafe. Rios Hey Ratifar says, hey, how does the annual inflation rate of XRP and fib level 4.236 of $10 affects for your exit prices? What is your first exit price points? How does the annual inflation rate of XRP and fib level 4.236 extension of $10 affects your exit price? Trying to decipher your language here. So we've gone through this many times that over the years of inflation, when we look at the 4.236 extension of XRP's market cap, we've pretty much tracked it for the last year. We're like, okay, if it goes there today, it would be $10.56. Okay, now if it goes there, it's going to be $10.31. Okay, now if it goes there, it's going to be $10.12. And then like the last time we checked, I think it was down to like 9 something. Maybe it was down to 7. Not 7. It was like down to 9 something, I think, the last time we checked. So if you're going to go full 4.236 extension on XRP's market cap, I believe it's in the 9s now. But first exit price points, it's just going to be gradually chipping as it gets into all-time highs. And then by the time we would, if we get to a 4.236 extension on the market cap, I would have sold 65%. Andy Philpott, super chat, brother, super sticker. Thank you, bro. And you've been wild from start to before start to finish, man. Thank you very much. All right, you guys, I'm going to get to work on my video. So I'm going to wrap this thing up so I can get to work on my video and get it finished before I run out of energy. If you guys are looking for something to do this weekend, it is a perfect opportunity to catch up on my newsletters over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. There's a link in the chat and a link in the description of each of my videos and live streams, including this one. Just close the chat, go look at the description. There's your link. It takes you right over here to Substack. And then, of course, you guys can check out bcbacker.com if you just can't get enough and you need more videos from me. Put together, of course, over here with over 40 videos and 11 hours of content, deep diving into the historical behavior of the cryptocurrency market while teaching you how to set up your own charts, indicators, all that good stuff, teaching you a lot about the crypto markets and things that have always been important that occur here. There's something I wanted to say. I don't remember. Oh, well. Andy, thank you very much, bro. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We got over 2,000 people in here, over 1,000 likes. A good day. Keep your eyes out for a video later today. And probably it's still going to be a few hours before that thing's done. I do have 13 minutes of it recorded. Like it takes like 30 minutes of recording, and then it gets edited down to 13 minutes. So I have 13 minutes of edited content available, but I'm trying not to make this be a 30-minute video. I'm trying to keep it close to that 20 minutes, but hopefully it'll be done and uploaded within a couple of hours, but it will be out today for sure. Otherwise, guys, have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful weekend. Hopefully we just see stability throughout the weekend over here in the cryptocurrency market. And otherwise, I will check in with you on Monday. And I'll be with you in spirit when you watch my video later today. All right. Oscar Hernandez, man, 10 memberships gifted out, guys. Look at that. Everybody in the chat, Scott Green. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit... Hopefully, I've earned your subscription. I don't know why I'm saying that. All right. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Thank you, Andy, for the membership, bro. Have a good one. Remember that one time I was like, have a good one. All right, that's it. Have a good one. Bye.